Turn the hips and therefore also the shoulders, and we need to move forward by bending the front leg. Because then you get power to the stance. It's not just rotation, it's also forward momentum. So we step back into neutral bone and to forward. Now to test ourselves, if this is any good, we're going to add some resistance. So if I can use Jaap, Jaap is going to try and throw me. And I need to go to neutral bone and to forward bone. He does it again. And that's what we're going to try. Don't go put too much pressure on in the beginning. Start slowly, but try to add up. And before we do that, I've got to say, if you are, like Robert Ford was saying, 50 kilos, or and you've got a guy of 150, you can have the most perfect forward bow in the world, and you're not going to make it, because there are limits to anything. A concrete hole in the ground is very hard, unless you have a bulldozer, then it's going down. So keep that in mind, and go and try together. If your partner is much heavier than yourself, no problem, but be a little gentle with each other. Yeah? Transition. And if I do a technique like delayed sword, it comes in with it. Any good? No. Wasn't okay. My timing was up, but I get away with it because I can hammer pretty good. So I can without using my foot, I can still make this work. But if I time it, I can hammer so much more powerful. So the essence is that in striking surface head, because that was of course what we were doing a minute ago, we are forced to have good timing. Because if you haven't, you're going to fall. If your partner really attacks. And in delayed sword you don't have to, but you still want to be as effective as possible. So even though I can get away with doing it wrong, that's not my objective. I want to do it as perfect as I can. So now we're going to use that timing we just trained in a block. We're going to step right foot back, and he's going to make a punch. So I'm still going to have that same momentum, the same timing. It's just now I'm not absorbing his power into my body, but I'm absorbing it right there. Let's start with that. Make sure you get the same timing and try to be perfect. And now I did it in the 1-2. I don't want it in 1-2. I want it in 1. Yes? Okay. One guy. Go. Idea to that, and that's the outer rim theory. The outer rim theory means that there's a egg-shaped bolt in front of me, and that's where my hands move. So if I'm stepping back, that's outside of the egg here. Because unless there's another person behind me that I want to elbow, there was my elbow in there. So if he comes in, it's here. Because it's already on the way going there. So that's what we want to do. And if I do that punch, realize yourself what the purpose of that punch is. What do I want to do? What, do I want to break his ribs? Probably. I do. But that's not the main reason for that punch. The main reason for that punch is moving his body. Because I don't have any targets. I've only got one target here, and it's his ribs. And I can break ribs, but unless I puncture his lungs as well, I might. He's going to be very sorry about this tomorrow morning. I don't do it tomorrow morning. I want now. I want him in pain now. And if someone has ended up and you break his ribs, he's going to go on. If you kick him in the groin, he's not. So that's why. From here, I cannot kick him in the groin. So I create my own target in this technique. So what I'd like you to do is, 1, keep the outer rim theory in mind. Don't move your hands out of the rim. So it's here, and from here they go that way. And that's why we need our forward bow, because I can punch him, but this then didn't have a penetrating power. That's why I need my forward bow. And the moment my heel touches the floor is the moment it launches forward, and preferably into the groin with a ball kick, not a roundhouse kick. My body is moving forward, so that's where I want to strike, forward, not around the corner. And I see some of you think, but what if he didn't turn enough? No problem. No problem whatsoever. If he didn't turn enough, then there's his knee. Just take that. And if he didn't turn at all, he's also got a front knee, which is not my preferred target because it's too close for my best kick. But it's there. And if I can't make my best kick because the target isn't there, then I'll take the front knee. So make a ball kick straight on to whatever target you made available. I'm not going to say more. No, I'm not going to say more. Do that first. No. Comes in a little more aggressive, and I block here. I cannot do my, well. I can do an uppercut. I could choose an uppercut. I could choose for leaping crane, but I don't. I want to keep my feet on the ground, so I'm going thundering hammers right in there. So that's the situation where he is closer than I anticipated. Because I can be as perfect as I can be, but that doesn't mean that I anticipate on every situation in a perfect way. Because I think I'm going back and I'm going in again, but he's too close. Which means that my timing is off. Because had I been a little bit earlier, then the distance would have been enough to make my punch, but I can't. So I choose for thundering hammers. For those of you that don't know the technique, you stand back and you go forearm strike into the belly. This is why I wanted the hour before lunch. Okay, try that. Try that. Funny thing is that if we go and do thundering hammers, then it starts to have a crystal ball, and we all know what's going to happen. Because what we all do is if I already knew that he was going to be too close for attacking mace. We didn't. So, also in thundering hammers, we're here, ready for the punch. It's just that he's too close. But my hand is still here, not here. I can only do that because I already knew what was going to happen, and I never do. So your hand is here, and from here you go forward. Because one of the things is, if you put your hand here, you cannot do attacking mace anymore if he's not too close. And if I do if I keep my arm here and I'm going to hit him, is this inside my outer rim? No. There. So from this situation, my hand is here, ready to punch. I can't punch. It's here. I'm much more powerful here than there. I think if he really came onto me, and I do it like this, he's going to pop my shoulder out. Because there's too much power there. I want it to be killing me. So he comes in, and go that way. We'll keep it to that. We can do the rest of the technique, but that's for the purpose of what I want to tell you, not this morning. So let's keep it to this. Yes? He's too close in two ways. If he's here and he's too close, I can hit him here. That's not very good. So I got to step back, which I actually can, of course, in the middle of the technique. Or I can just turn. And now we're back into the outer rim. So if he's going too fast and he's too deep, I can still hit him. I just turn my body a little and make sure that the arm, or actually the target, is within my outer rim. I can do that by moving backward and forward, but I can also do it by turning. And then I keep him in front of me so that I can use all these muscles, which I can either here, because the muscles are all stretched now and they can't provide any power anymore, and I'm going to hurt myself instead of hurting him, which of course is what we want. Another option, when he's even closer, if he's even closer than that, can't get in here. We just use the elbow. We use the elbow and we go for flexing wings. Don't do the entire flexing wings, but do take the elbow. Then come in a little more, so close that you can't effectively do thundering hammers anymore, but go for flashing wings, or at least the elbow. Yeah? You don't have to do a forward block and do anything. If there's distance, you make a punch. If there's not that much difference, you make a forearm strike and a the elbow. I did mention the name flashing wings, which I shouldn't have, because the moment I do that, I see all the thing in flashing wings. Leave that out for today's purposes. I leave it out always because I want it to work and I can actually do something here. What if he's even closer? Well, he's not even closer. He passed me.
You marry him.
I marry him. Yeah. If it were the fact that he's already married, I wouldn't. And I'm too, actually. So he goes past me. So I go with this. Then we go for, let's go again, leaping crane. If you do leaping crane in a way that he comes in, that's the crystal ball again. You knew what was going to happen. That's why you could do that. That's why I don't want to do that. So even in leaping crane, I go from here, then I lift my foot because I'm behind him. Shall we train? Well, let's not do that one. It takes too long. We've got the three. We've got the punch, the forearm, or the elbow, and now you're gonna do whatever comes naturally. So the attacker decides how fast, how deep he's gonna attack, and we just react. Take any of those three, and don't try not to think on forehand which one you're gonna do, because that's not what we want. We want to react. Yes? So don't think, just I did mention the term moving from point of origin, and somehow, all of us, me included, we would think that the concept of moving from point of origin starts after the initial block. But it doesn't, of course. We all know that. But still we do, because he comes in. That wasn't moving from point of origin. Yeah. And one straight in. So I'd like to test that with you. And we cannot test it on this attack because we get away with it. We're going to make it a little harder. We're going to do an attack where you cannot get away with it. He's going to give me a right roundhouse punch. If I went up first before I blocked, he's going to catch me. So I need to straight in. If I don't do it straight in, and of course, if he comes in with a straight punch, same thing. That was too slow. Straight in. So from where your hand is, it moves in. But we're going to try it on the roundhouse punch, because there he can start hitting me harder and harder and harder, and I've still got to catch him. Same thing applies, of course, if your opponent is 150 kilos and you're only 50, he won't hit, because that's not going to work. It's not going to fly. But if he's not, if he's the same size, he should be able to hit as hard as he wants. And even if he's a little heavier, like a no. So he can hit me, and I'll make sure I stop him. Normally we would do that with hand swords, or even with fists, to be able to feel the force. Sounds like Star Wars now. To feel that force without actually hurting him. I don't mind hurting him, but I know that if I do it twice, the third time he's not going to attack very hard anymore, because he knows what's going to happen. So that's why I do it with open hands. I feel the power without hurting him. Yes? So once more, center line.
That's it. Not 2 minutes, 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
10 minutes.
10 more.
Yeah.
You were talking about going to the center line, which of course is true. But the center line of what? The center line of him. But the center of his attack is not in his center line if he's doing a roundhouse punch. The center of his attack is here. Because if I step towards his center when he attacks, I'm going to pull down. If I step towards his shoulder, being the center of his attack. So I am going to the center line, but the center line of the attack which is not always the same as the center-oriented person. So keep that in mind. If we do the final exercise for today, I'd like to split the group in two halves. I think just about as many people are here are there. And make a circle. Make a circle here and a circle there. Well, wait up. I'll first explain and then we'll make a circle, because otherwise I've got to explain twice. The first person steps into the circle, and person number 1 comes in with the punch, and you block him. And then you go to person number 2, 3, 4, all the way around. As soon as I'm by at person number 2 or 4, somewhere 3 or 4, then number 2 goes. If you're done, you're going to be at the end, and you're going to attack. Do we understand?
Yes.
So.